welcome back. This is Hey Eintracht Frankfurt, the Bundesliga podcast covering everything there is to know in the English language about Eintracht Frankfurt, the best club in the Bundesliga, best club in Germany, best club in Europe, best club in the world, for that matter. But we're a little bit biased. Some weeks more so than others, if you get my meaning. I am Brian and Casey. Dad duty is sort of kids in bed early. I do have the time, and I'm here to talk about all things Eintracht Frankfurt with none other than the man with the best hair in all Detroit, Garret. How are we doing? USL is about to reopen action, as we already have MLS going on right now. How are you doing? How is Hockey Town, USA?
Hockey Town, USA, the Waynes pulled one back on the Wild, hoping to get one back from their first of two goal collapses. Collapses is a similar theme we'll talk about later on. USL you were talking about. It's wild that we're back at the regular season for the Detroit City's men. As my other endeavors, podcast and content stuff, but we've also had women's indoor soccer since the beginning of January. So no such thing as off season here, but it's good to be able to do this again. Good to have you here on there, and let's it's going to be good for both of us. Yeah, let's let it fly.
Folks, it seems like every time I ever pop up my head to talk about the Eintracht, something happens, and we have to get angry. We have to get emotional. I feel like we were just bound to have another one of those days, and we did. Eintracht Frankfurt 0, Bayern Munich 4. The house of horrors that is the Allianz Arena continues. Sure, we had that one where Filip Kostic got the game winner. Kevin Trapp played one of the greatest games of his life. That's what it took for Eintracht Frankfurt to get a result. The only one of, if my memory is correct, only one of 3 non-losing results Eintracht have had against Bayern Munich. And Bayern has been in their stadium for 20 years, 20-plus years now. They've already redone the entire seating arrangement of the Allianz Arena because it was built originally when it was going to be equal shares held by 1860 Munich and Bayern Munich. The only reason why 1860 got out of it is because, well, they kind of got relegated and then they were skint for money. So they sold off that. Bayern then rejigged the stadium so that it's got an all Bayern feel to it. That's why 1860 is now back at the Grünwalder. But we're not talking about, the other Munich team. Though, if I do have a soft spot for another Bundesliga team, it is ish, because they're Dritte Liga. It is those guys, but that's just because I want Stadt derbies back in the Bundesliga harder than I want anything right now. And honestly, the only way we're going to get it is if Union Berlin goes down at this point. But anyways, Eintracht Frankfurt, I really just want to talk about the first 45 minutes, Garret, because honestly, that was the only part that was stomachable.
And there was moments early on. I don't want to give Alejandro Moreno any credit at all too much, but he made a point early on in the first half where a great ball in from the right flank to Hugo Ekitike, one-time hit, goes a little bit wide. I didn't expect that to be our absolute best chance of the match, and I think we were going toe-to-toe with them well the first half hour of the match. I don't know if it was Kevin Trapp trying to be a little bit too aggressive in goal because he's so used to playing Bayern so many times, right? And not having the defensive cover. This year, because I think Rasmus Christensen was trying hard early on, but it seems like they were playing on top of each other for a little bit. The first goal where he goes out to try to close in on Leroy Sané, he's second best in the pace. And then all Sané has to do is just square it up for Michael Olise to literally, he could have walked it in at that point. And I think I liked the first 10 minutes of the second half. I didn't like Kamujan being subbed off. But I thought the pace we looked all right. Then we gave up the second, and then Yeah, that's why my recap on Sunday was 47 or 50 seconds, I think, whatever it was. I don't think I'll ever top how short it was because that's all I got.
It was just one of those matches that you just kind of throw up and say, wasn't our day. We went to Munich. Very few teams go to Munich and get results. Even when Bayern is, quote, having a down year, and I don't think that they're having a down year per se. Unlike, say, the last 2 seasons, I definitely would say were kind of down years. Well, having to win the title on the last second in a very weak in a kind of weakish Bundesliga for that season when it came to the title race, and last season where Leverkusen just blew the doors off everybody and they had no chance to ever get back into it, especially when you pull 1 point out of a possible 6 against your main title rival. So Bayern, you know what? I was excited when I heard that Harry Kane was not going to play. I swear to God, I wish that the guy had played the whole match, or at least started the match, because if there's one thing, he may be older than either of us, but Thomas Müller, he may move slow because he's old, but golly, he is a coach on the pitch who is getting angry at guys. Like Olise not making a run, not Ito, not making a cross. He's turning around and being like, hey, you motherfucker, you play this, you play that. Look at how I halted looking to make a play to you. That guy, I swear to God, it's like as though he and his kind of coaching now, so I anticipate him to be a coach, a sporting director of someone in the Bundesliga in the future once his playing days are done. I don't think he's going to be pundit at all. Him playing instead Harry Kane, that just opened up everything for Bayern, and I was like, damn it.
Yeah.
I just was looking at him like, oh man, I thought the old man running around was gonna make it easy. Nope. Bayern came at us, and they came at us hard. Look, we went with a young lineup. We gave Bahoya the start. Ekitike playing up top, Uzun and Bahoya kind of the fellows behind him. And of course you got Lawson, Hoyland kind of rocking out in the middle. We just got dominated. Pavlovic did what he does. Musiala, he was able to look to his left, to his right for Olise and Sane. Sane, who showed up and was awake. I mean, you also thought Upamecano being off for Bayern would have given us, some extra opportunities. No. Kim didn't play a horrible game. He played good. They had Eric Dyer in the freaking back line. And it didn't matter what I felt Eintracht was doing in the second half. They just the strategy was in place to be able to get something out of the match, but when you're a coach, you can always take the blame. It's like, hey, we didn't get the players prepared for this one. That's on me. But I put this down to, hey, you know what? The Bayern players themselves came out wanting it more, and you can hype up everybody all you want. Let's look at ESPN hyping up all American hockey fans with that freaking, team talk from the movie Miracle. It's a lovely moment of a movie, but, it just wasn't what was needed. And what was needed from Eintracht was not shown by the players. So whatever was said in the hallways didn't inspire a victory. But at least I think the framework was there to get something from it. And it's just one of those matches where, hey, you know what? We didn't do – could have been a lot worse. Bayern could have throttled us in the second half, and it could have been one of those 7, 8, 9 nils that Bayern will sometimes rattle off 2-3 times a season where they just steamroll the other guy and they start letting goals in, kind of like what we had when we played against Bochum at the Waldstadion.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing in there too. Like Musiala, the Bayern especially, and maybe this was unfortunate for us, they had a lot of critics going at him after what happened in Champions League leg 2 of the knockout, having to score in the 94th minute to just get past Celtic.
A team who I honestly would think would be just in that relegation dogfight with your Kiels, with your Heidenheims, with your Hoffenheims. They'd be maybe 15th, 14th, but that's not saying a whole lot.
Yeah. But there was a talk in the commentary during the broadcast on Sunday. Celtics approached midweek of the pressing Bayern and making it uncomfortable versus them, versus maybe us being safe a little bit on there. We weren't able to break out like we did in the first leg in October. First match in October, 2 center backs deep. You had Ekatike, then you had Omar Marmish, you had fast-paced players. You could run at them. It seemed like when we had the ball, we wanted to be safe to try to establish some things. This is where maybe I would have started Nathaniel Brown over Ansgar Knalf, just for that injection of pace early on. I think that might have been the only thing I would have done on the lineup in the beginning. But I think we were a little too safe at times. And when you play a Bayern Munich team and you give them space to fill in, they are going to make you pay when they are on. And unfortunately, Sunday, they were fucking on.
It was a proverbial kick in the down belows by Bayern when they get stuff going that's that's the only way I can kind of formulate it. And I look at Bayern and I'm wondering, especially since Stuttgart didn't have so we're recording this midweek, the other 2 Pokal quarterfinals are going on. I'm kind of wondering what sort of Bayern we're going to see next, because we face off against Leverkusen. Bayern faces off against Stuttgart. Bayern's now suddenly in a position where your entire season could unravel really quickly. Yeah, okay, an 8-point lead in the league is very, very hard to overcome, especially since Leverkusen didn't get the win in their last match the other week. But with Stuttgart up next, I'm kind of wondering what happens to Bayern, because this was a huge confidence boost, but I'm wondering if just the way that things are whenever anyone plays Bayern in Munich is just, if you can get through the first 45 minutes, great. Try and see what you can do in the next 45 to possibly get 1, if not all 3 points. Whilst when Bayern leaves Bavaria, they suddenly shrink, like just they're shrinking violet by comparison. And we'll take a look at how they performed against some of the other teams that are in the Bundesliga when they go on the road. We'll see what they do against Stuttgart, but this was a Bayern team that was what you thought Bayern could always be. And you know what? I'm okay with moving on. How are you, Garrett?
Yeah. Do you want to go around the Bundesliga, or do you want to talk about our Europa League draw?
Let's look at the Europa League draw right now. So Eintracht Frankfurt knew that we could get only a handful of teams. Union Saint-Gilloise was one that we were looking at. And then they drew out the biggest team with the most hardware from the Eredivisie in Ajax Amsterdam. We're going to be going to the Johan Cruyff. I don't know which is the correct way to pronounce it, since I don't have a Dutchman here to correct me. But we're going to play against Ajax at the Johan Cruyff Arena. They can come to the Waldstadion. I, so far, don't have any recollection that we've ever taken on Ajax, but this is an Ajax team that seemed like 18 months ago went from top of the world to, oh my God, we're imploded right now as we speak. But I'm looking at playing these guys and I'm like, you know what? If we were to go out, which would mean we could then focus entirely on the Bundesliga matches, this is a team that you could go out to, but I still feel that we're a Bundesliga club, and we should be going into these matches within the Europa League and not be scared off of anybody. And sure, it is Ajax, but you know what? Who cares? We're Eintracht Frankfurt. We shouldn't be scared of flipping Ajax and we should go out there and kick the living crap out of them. I'd like to think that, but we got one of the fellas in our Discord chatter who is an Ajax fan. And he's like, "Well, we're better now than we were. we're better than we were." So
this is the draw I wanted, though. I think when you look at, there was before leg 2 finished of this 32, Ajax was taking on Union Saint-Gilloise 2-0 after the first leg, fell behind 2-0.
I wanted revenge. I wanted revenge for last season. That's what I wanted.
Yeah. Fell behind 2-0 at the Johan Cruyff with a man down. Got the goal. They lost 1-2 on the day, but advanced 3-2 on the aggregate. And the other one, another team we could have gotten revenge on, PAOK Thessaloniki, for 2 group stage losses last year in Conference League. They stumbled to FCSB, formerly known as Steaua Bucuresti, in Romania. So we knew we could have had either Ajax after the Ajax transfer or Steaua. To me, if you're paralleling 21-22 and the Europa League triumph, are 4 matchups after the group stage: Real Betis, FC Barcelona, West Ham United, Glasgow Rangers. You get past Ajax, you play either AZ Alkmaar or Tottenham Hotspur, and then whoever comes out of that other side of the bracket for the semis. First things first, March 6th, Amsterdam, March 13th, Waldstadion. At our very best, we can take Ajax, like we've seen at times, kind of like even how we played against Holstein Kiel, and when we started off the second half of the year, for the most part, in league play before Bayern. But it's going to be a big indicator of what's our mindset going to be for Thursday. How much is Saturday going to cause the mindset for leg 1 in Amsterdam? Or is it going to be whatever happens on Saturday happens? Let's focus on Amsterdam leg 1. That's what I think is going to be when we talk about the match this weekend. That's going to be to me the question mark, because I think you want to go. This is a big matchup, and I want this selfishly also for the banter purposes of the Discord banter. But you want to make yourself a name in Europe. Yes, you won a Europa League 3 years ago. Yes, you went to the round of, I think 32 in the Champions. Was it 32 or 16 in the Champions League? 32, the original knockout in 22-23. But you want to keep becoming a constant name. Constant name means you're well known, means that you're attracting the talent, means your existing talent wants to not just, treat Eintracht Frankfurt like a stepping stone. Beating Ajax is one of those things, and keep on progressing in this tournament. So, bring it on, but I hope Saturday doesn't make me dread Thursday, like how Sunday makes me dread Saturday.
I hear that. Yeah, the way that we rolled things out, left a lot to be desired. But Ajax right now, not from league standpoint, they haven't lost since December. They've been just rolling through the Eredivisie. They specifically on the 2nd, they played 2nd of February. They played and beat Feyenoord, which, that's one of the big uns, one of the 3, and they don't have to play Eindhoven until after our tie is done. So it's kind of a shame that, we're not squeezed right in between, some real tricky games for them. But their qualification is kind of crazy. They started in the 2nd qualifying round for the Europa League. They went through a round against a Serbian team who I've never heard of, started in July. They then beat the former Greek champions Panathinaikos. Fun fact, the only Greek team ever to have made a European final until Olympiacos won the Conference League last season. So interesting tidbit there. And then they beat some Polish team that I didn't even know, never even heard of, to just get to the Europa League. So these guys have logged a lot of miles on those legs. And, they kind of they kind of fell a little ill, like losing to Sociedad, losing to Lazio, losing to the Riga club that we beat at home. RFS. They needed a victory over Galatasaray on the final match day to confirm that they were in it. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking that Ajax is not going to give us their full focus because they're going to be so dialed in, focused to win the Eredivisie back, because you win the Eredivisie, you're into the league phase of the Champions League and the huge money that comes with that. I think we have the opportunity here to take advantage of them with their eyes off the ball more so than us, because we honestly, as a club, I will say last season in the Conference League, that was just an adjustment. Like for, I don't know, say for Heidenheim being in it, that was huge. If, say, a Bremen gets back to Europe and plays in that would be huge for them. Mainz would make a big deal out of it. Freiburg would take it seriously, but I feel like we as a club didn't take it seriously last season, but here we will take it very seriously. And then, we'll see what where the chips will fall, because we'll either link up with Spurs again, who was in our group stage, in 22-23, or we'll play against AZ Alkmaar, who we do have a history with in European matches, who dummied Galatasaray, and I did not expect that to happen, especially after the way that Galatasaray has been flying through Turkey. But anyways, that's kind of what's going on in the European action. I think, Garrett, we can take some time for hashtag what are we drinking before we look to future matches, because as we talked off air, the ladies are off and most of them are on international break in matches that I don't believe should be played. But look, the women's international game is what it is, and a driving force behind the women's game for growth. Every single time we ever see exponential growth happen is because international matches happen, the national tournaments happen. So you got to do what you got to do. So we still have plenty of matches to go with the Frauen, but we'll get to that on a later episode. So hashtag what are we drinking time. Garrett, what do you got for us?
Glass of water right now. Once the because I actually had a 0 sugar Pepsi with my KFC dinner earlier today. I feel like every time I get KFC,
I don't get any kickbacks from that, right? With my last name.
No, but you want to know what? It's a callback to the podcast, because ever since producer Nathan has referred and his disdain for Kaiserslautern and with the KFC stuff, every time I get KFC, I feel like, hey, Nathan, I'm getting KFC. Just for that, like, little fun banter purposes on there. I am going to hit I'm looking forward to the nice glass of milk post done recording on here, because that seems to be my nightcap of stuff these days. But yeah, that's it for right now.
Alrighty, and I have Michigan favorite Werner's, the original ginger soda that I am taking on. Kind of taking a little break after tossing a few back for the Eintracht match, and it was like, well, I put that mostly down to the fact that the team kind of just started laying an egg while sudden chasing around a 2-year-old in the beer hall, and there's 25 other Bayern fans who think he's hilarious, and I'm just like, I wish I could. They're like, Brian, why is your team not doing good? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm paying attention to the kid. I'm not really paying attention to the match. Dad stuff. So that's what we got for our hashtag what are we drinking. Prost to that, and let's get to segment 2. So I'm going to throw you a curveball because we didn't discuss this for segment 2. I want to look at the promotion race from the down below. I want to look at the fun stuff that is the Zweite Liga. I want to look at it's kind of crazy that if you want to go even further down into the Dritte Liga, you're looking at a return of the East, which, well, certain voters went certain ways, and now close to 20% of the German voting public went in one direction. But let's stay away from that.
We've already talked about enough pain today. Let's keep going in a positive direction.
Exactly. So let's look at what is exciting. So we had a real fun kickoff of the Zweite Liga match week with Kaiserslautern, who you mentioned, and Garret, and they play HSV, a team who made a coaching change, and Union Berlin, I think, will really rue the day that they made that decision. But anyways, we had a blockbuster match with that, and it then bothered to look at the table when that match is going on Friday, and I was like, dear sweet Jesus, Hamburg, Köln, Kaiserslautern, they make it the top three, which is fabulous because I've been whinging for years that the Bundesliga is getting these little guys in here and then they don't go away. Your Augsburg, your Mainz, well, our feelings about Mainz is pretty well told, and then you have your Hamburgs, your Kölns, your Kaiserslautern, your Schalkes, Düsseldorf, Hanover, Nuremberg, Hertha, all are in the Zweite Liga to the point that if you look at stadiums by person capacity, the Zweite Liga has got more of those stadiums than the Erste Bundesliga. But right now, we're really primed to possibly have 2, if not 3, Traditionsvereins entering the Bundesliga for the 25-26 season. It gets me juiced and going, and what gets me juiced and going even more is if Hamburg does come up, we got a Stadt derby.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. That is fire.
You want to know what's wild, especially when you look at this weekend. You talked about it was Hamburg Kaiserslautern on Friday. Sunday was Köln Düsseldorf.
Wonderful.
Yeah, especially in that region of the Rhine. Hanover, Paderborn. You had a lot of matchups close thing. From top of the table to ninth is a 7-point difference. It's a 7-point gap. It's wild. You got 3 teams on 38th from 4 to 6. All of them are a point behind Kaiserslautern, who hold the last spot in the promotion relegation playoff. I mean, it's anything's moment. And then when you look at the bottom 3, a historic name in Eintracht Braunschweig. Are they going to go down too? There's a lot of, it's a wild thing. And you and I, in our other circles, we know many of people that are deeply devoted and deeply eyeballing the Zweite race right now. Our friends at 50 Plus Donor, and I will say when I look at this weekend, because it seems like every weekend there's no weekend that is without at least one big matchup. I am looking right now. You got Paderborn hosting Hamburg on Sunday. Magdeburg, Darmstadt, Nuremberg, Hanover, Karlsruhe, Köln. I mean, those are some big matchups in and around. You also have Fürth, who are in 11th. They could try to get something out of Fortuna Düsseldorf, who are hosting. So all I'm just saying is just when you think the Zweite Bundesliga, the Zweite Bundesliga pulls the carpet out underneath you and says, not so fast.
No, my friend at the end? Okay.
I don't want to do the league course. I don't know if it was a league course a bit or whatever. I thought of it in that moment.
Honestly, yeah, you did kind of mention the relegation fight. It's getting really tight. Nuremberg, Hanover will likely possibly knock out one of those 2 teams in terms of the promotion race. Kaiserslautern, Regensburg. Regensburg looks dead and buried, but Braunschweig, good lord, along with Schalke, Preußen Münster. Yeah. Those are 2 really good relegation dogfights, and I'm here for it. I just want it. Like, we've enjoyed the Zweite Liga for as much as it is, but we want some of them big. I will beat the drum as loud as I can. We want them big fish up and playing with the big boys, because a Schalke, a Düsseldorf, a Nuremberg, Hanover, Kaiserslautern. Technically you could say Braunschweig from a historic standpoint, but not so much recently. But you have all these big guys who have descended down there. It's a shame that they are down there. I can't wait for them to come back.
Yeah.
Because before these guys know it, you're going to have, for the guys who are going down for the relegation and the guys who don't get promoted, you got a Dresden, you got a Cottbus who just got promoted to the Dritte Liga from the Regionalliga. looking like they're going to be the champions of third division. That's some scary, scary stuff. And I'm not just talking, and I'm not even thinking about their fans.
Yeah.
That's like the third division is like the difference of money between those guys. It's so scary that if you're a Braunschweig, you're just like, oh crap, we go down again. We may not come back up for a couple seasons, and where does that set us back? If you're in Elversberg, you're like, not a big deal. We really are punching well above our weight. We're happy where we're at. Ulm is in their first season in the Zweite Liga since their double relegation from the Bundesliga to the Zweite Liga and then to what was in the third division. You know, the Zweite Liga, it's so unpredictable, and I just love it. And it's the most attended league in sport right now from a second division standpoint. And honestly, it beats us most every other league. So here's to them continuing to keep it going.
I got one more thing that could be a Dritte Liga dark horse, especially in results of what happened in the DFB Pokal today. Arminia Bielefeld advanced into the semifinals, defeating Werder Bremen. After Arminia Bielefeld had consecutive relegations from top flight in Zweite Bundesliga, they are currently fourth in the Dritte, 4 points behind another DFB Pokal darling. Unfortunately, we remember that from last season in Saarbrücken. But you got to think now, with this Pokal run, 4 points from the promotion relegation spot in the Dritte, 5 points behind Dynamo Dresden, who are in the second space. Can potentially we see Arminia Bielefeld make a play, a late run? Also, another one behind, especially if our dear Köln supporters do not get up. Victoria Köln, because you love a shot. Also 4 points behind in that promotion.
That will be
relegation.
Insane. Like if Victoria Köln, for folks who don't know, that's like a neighborhood club. That's they make FS Val look big.
Mm-hmm.
Just how it is. So if they can get back up, so Bielefeld, their two local rivals in terms of distance are Münster and Paderborn. So for them, their local fans will be like, oh heck yeah, we get to play these guys. And it would be nice to see Paderborn back up there because they took such a tumble that sometimes it can be hard to recover from. Paderborn did it, but I still have yet to figure out how Paderborn did it, but they accomplished it. It baffles the mind. All right, we've been talking about the lower levels just a little bit, just because we can, and we haven't done so in a long time. Plus, I need to get my juices. I got my juices flowing right now, but Topspiel.
Yep.
Topspiel, Eintracht Leverkusen. Oh boy. Waldstadion. Just a couple days before Leverkusen takes on Bayern in their first leg of the Champions League round of 16, and one day after is when Eintracht will take on Ajax in our Europa League tie. We play Leverkusen. I'm looking at this and saying to myself, Leverkusen, if we come out fighting those first 45 minutes, if we come out and just punch them right in the throat, they will back off, because I think that they'll look at it from the standpoint of we want to keep our powder dry for the Champions League. That's what we really, really, really want. 8 points is a really difficult ask for us to make up. And I think because Stuttgart plays Bayern on Friday, if Stuttgart just gets walloped by Bayern, well, if you're Leverkusen, if we win, 8-point gap, ouch, and they just beat Eintracht and Stuttgart to really, for my viewpoint, seal out the Bundesliga, I think Leverkusen maybe makes one or two substitutions, which allows us to take the full 3 points. Now, am I going to predict that we're going to take the 3 points? No, I'm going to make a prediction now. I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw with Leverkusen. It's going to be tight, and both goals are going to happen in the second half, but I really think that Eintracht is in a position where we can take points off of Leverkusen, but it's about the mindset that Leverkusen comes in with, because I think the Champions League is such an important thing for them that if Bayern drops points, they're gunning for us, and it's all hands on deck.
This is where, for us, Eintracht Frankfurt faithful, in a precarious situation in a Champions League spot, where I'm trying to not have that 2020, 2021 season flashbacks in my head of the last time we were here, especially with our business we done in January. But this is where we're 11 matches away till the end of the season, but this is a weekend for us where we need to take a look at some of the matches around us. I don't want to say table watching right now, but you kind of got to table watch a little bit. You talked about Stuttgart, Bayern Munich. Bayer Leverkusen's obviously hoping for a Stuttgart win so that maybe they can reawaken, especially from them still kicking themselves for not beating Bayern at the Bayer Arena a couple weekends ago. Stuttgart win puts them 3 points would be 3 points behind Eintracht Frankfurt at the start of that match day at the Tippspiel on Saturday. Just before that, at 9:30, two teams that are 4 points behind Eintracht Frankfurt play each other at 9:30 in the morning. RB Leipzig and Mainz, a Mainz team that is on one right now, and what do I want? Do I want to stub my toe on the door stainer, or do I want to accidentally punch myself in the nuts? This is Leipzig and Mainz right here. But I feel like if both teams can draw, okay, good. That takes a little bit of the pressure off Eintracht Frankfurt on there. But I think Leipzig Mainz will have a winner in that match. And then Sunday, a team that's 3 points behind you and could be level, though not on goal difference, Union Berlin with Stefan Baumgart, as you were talking about, taking on a Freiburg team. While inconsistent they've been on the last couple matches, and they 5-0 Bremen. So we got to get something here, unfortunately, to feel comfortable before we host Union Berlin back in the Bundesliga. This fixture for us in the Waldstadion has been historically favorable until last year happened, and then we lost 5-1 at home to a team that obviously ran the table, lost only one competitive fixture all year in all their competitions. I'm with you. I don't feel confident in a win, but we played them well in October at the Bayer Arena. We had a lead on them in the Bayer Arena.
Well enough.
Yeah. And that fixture fucking sucks historically for us, and we played them decently.
True.
Honors even 1-1. Give me Hugo Ekitike, because I'm not concerned about him right now. I'll even go visitors equalizer. It's gonna be Grimaldo.
Yeah, if I had to pick the goal scorers in my 1-1 draw prediction, Patrick Schick and I think Knauf will pop up randomly. He's overdue for one. He hasn't looked bad. He just he's
chasing the goal.
Brown a little better.
Hockey terms, you're trying to do too much. You're gripping the stick a little too tight. You just need that one. You relax the nerves.
Yeah. Well, Garrett, I guess it's time for us to wrap up the podcast. Shame, but all these podcasts must come to an end. It's been great being back on the show, chatting things up, all things Eintracht with you. Where can we find your work in the social media landscape of the world?
All right, so Twitter, Instagram, Discord for the Blue Sky as well, because I keep forgetting I have a Blue Sky. GM Comats, the Blue Sky is gmcomats.bsky.social. Eintracht Frankfurt, Detroit on Twitter right now, Detroit SGE. We've been quiet. It's calm here. We'll get to something soon. Once there's details, we'll fill people in.
You guys have been stuck in a cold vortex for a long time.
Dude, the snow's melting here. I'm shocked. I'm trying not to take this for granted because we've had 2 polar vortexes this year. Also, for anyone, Brian, you made a good plug for USL content. Majors Detroit. We talk all things Detroit sports, but especially our Detroit City realm, because USL, while currently lower league soccer, if things happen in a couple of years, will be level with MLS, much like Super League stuff. And if that happens, we have some fun stuff for y'all. So, well, at least in the donor Discord, because then I can talk more shit to people that I know support other USL teams. But yeah, that's it for right now.
There you go. You can follow me on social media at KCSGE on X, Twitter, whichever you way to refer it. House burning down around you. I'm also on the gram at KCSGE. I don't really post as much on there as I used to. I am not on the butterfly. I haven't kind of gotten over that hump. But the show accounts are as follows. At HEF Pod on both X and Blue Sky. We are at Hey Eintracht Frankfurt on Instagram, facebook.com/HEF Pod. And we're working on new the web designers are hitting us up for extra money, so we're working on a revamped hefpod.com for you guys. We'll have more details on that. And
YouTube as well. Yeah. Eintracht Frankfurt on YouTube. Please hit that like and subscribe. The more subscribers we get, the more cool stuff we can do on YouTube. We want to start doing some live stuff, but we need subscribers. So,
yeah, we definitely do at that. So, folks, thanks for listening to this episode of Hey Eintracht Frankfurt. It's kind of crazy that I created this by myself. No dog is fur comes flying at me. Just kind of talking to a laptop microphone. We had barely gotten beaten by Bayern, and I thought this is a good time to start up a podcast about Eintracht. We're going to be playing in the semifinals of the Pokal versus Gladbach. What could go wrong here? I mean, it's kind of crazy that we would then go to Pokalsliga, European adventures, winning Europe. It's been crazy seeing the journey that we've been on with this podcast. So from all of us here at Hey Eintracht Frankfurt, take care of yourselves, and until next time, cheers! It was a proverbial kick in the down belows. Hey, Eintracht Frankfurt, la 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 la. Hey, Eintracht Frankfurt, la 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 la.